There's nothing much more terrifying to so many people other than the things that you can't see, right? It's the things that go bump in the dark. They scare the hell out of you. And for good reason. You can't see them. You don't know where to expect something. And on the modern battlefield, the thing that goes bump in the dark are drones. And for the better part of 15 years, drones have been a terrifying force for any combatant. I saw this firsthand as I was deployed to Iraq and witnessed our ability to deploy drones, as well as to see how ISIS and ISIL were using drones to attack the local populace. Countless times I'd be up watching videos on the high side that were recovered or captured from ISIS using drones to drop everything from hand grenades to 40 mics. It's something pretty wild and crazy to see. And of course, in recent events in the Ukraine, we've seen drones being deployed and used effectively. And it gets all of the circus, the online circus, if you will, to come together and say that the number one threat that you need to be concerned about are drones. And I want to talk about this. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts and your comments down below as we all continue to master our craft and develop our tactical virtue. The first thing I think we need to do is to understand that there are different types of drones, and I want to take these different types, if you will, and break them down into three segments. The first is the straight consumer level, right? This is the $300 and below drone. These pose absolutely no risk to you whatsoever, right? Consider that any drone you can hear from within about 1,000 meters away. You can hear that drone flying, especially if it's a consumer drone. Especially if it's going to be used for anything other than large aerial reconnaissance, right? Certainly, if it's flying pretty high, then you may not be able to hear it. But flying really high, a consumer drone is not going to have the detail to see what's happening down below. You may be able to see things like traffic patterns or large properties and things of this nature, but you're not going to see you. Pose zero threat whatsoever. The lower that it gets, the more of a threat it becomes, but you can see it. Or you can hear it. And if you can hear it, if you can identify where it's at, you can hide from it. Super effective. All you have to do is literally stand behind a tree or under a shrub and don't move. Ask me how I know. The next grade of drones that I'm going to categorize is going to be the prosumer drone. And these are going to probably start at the $500-ish level and go to the couple $1,000 level. Some of these may be equipped with things like FLIR, may even have some night vision, may have the ability to carry a small payload. These are going to be just as ill-equipped as a consumer drone when it comes to being a force to be reckoned with. Yes, prosumer drones have been utilized in the past on the combat environment. But let's break down where they can only be a threat. They can only be a threat within, if you have line of sight from operator to drone, right? You're not going to utilize these long range. I don't care what any drone company says. If you're around any kind of vegetation, your frequencies are not going to transmit very far. If you're trying to get up and over some terrain features, no, bro, it's not how it works. So A, that operator has to be in close proximity to you. B, they need to know what they're looking for. Again, if you're looking for a road intersection, if you're looking for a gate, if you're looking for a building, a structure, a major terrain feature, these things you can find. If you know that there's a platoon-sized element operating somewhere, you can probably find that platoon-sized element. Certainly anything larger you can find. You're looking for vehicles, equipment, a motorcade, you can find these things. Are you going to be operating in a motorcade in a company-sized element? No, right? That's not going to happen. These drones cannot see you. I don't care if they're equipped with FLIR, night vision, IR, any spectrum, right? Other than one, which is not going to happen on the Prosumer. We'll talk about this one in the Pro drones that are out there. Same drawbacks as a consumer. You can hear them. If you can hear them, you can evade and hide from them. Of course, you have to ask yourself, why does somebody with a drone, why are they looking for you? But you can also use this on the mirror side, like how can I employ drones, right? Knowing their weaknesses, how can I utilize them? And with some experience, you can begin to understand that they are not the tool that we've been led to believe that they are. They're kind of like the Baofeng radio of reconnaissance, if you will. They're just not all that good at the end of the day. They have a lot of limitations. Of course, there are drones out there that can deploy munitions, right? That can literally fly over the horizon, that have excellent sensors, that can zoom down while flying overhead and zoom in on what you want to see. These can be used for targeting, right? Of course, these drones, you and I are not going to be able to afford to buy, right? Most corporations won't invest in them. States, local governments cannot invest in these drones because they are too expensive to operate and to maintain. Because it's not just the cost of the drone and the equipment. Of course, you have to perform maintenance on them, but you also need qualified operators that are dedicated for this purpose. The only people who can afford these types of drones are state with a capital S, right? Talking about at the federal level, the military level. Do these pose a risk to you and to I? Now, certainly there are plenty of people out there who would tell you that they do, but I would argue that they probably don't for a couple reasons. One, yes, you can't hear them unless they're taking off nearby. And if you've been deployed, you've heard plenty of times that lawnmower sound firing up and taking off down the strip. And after a few minutes, you can't hear them anymore. But you can go up into the talk or into the jock and you can watch their feeds. You can go into the trucks, right, into the vans and shoulder surf the operators. But why are they going to be targeting you? What are you doing that is posing a risk to the state, capital S state? If the answer is nothing, if you are under the radar, so to speak, then these drones pose no risk to you at all. Now you could say, well, when the UN comes to town, I can't tell you that you're wrong, but I don't think that you're right. How can you fight against drones? Again, and even these military-grade drones, you can use the same tactics, techniques, and procedures to get around them. When they're flying high overhead, at first that operator is not looking straight down below. They're just trying to get to where they're trying to go to. They're trying to get to that 6-digit grid coordinate, right? And then from there, they're trying to zoom in and figure out and target what it is that they're after. They already know what they're after, right? There's already been intelligence on the ground that says we need to deploy these assets to this location. There's something that has been going on in this area. We expect a vehicle to depart at 1700 carrying a payload that we are concerned about. So you have this intelligence that has been generated, and this target package has been generated prior to, and now we're deploying our assets. In the scenarios and the things that we think about and chew on, 99% of the population doesn't fall into that category. Because if there's no reason to target you, the powers that be will not invest the time and money and the resources. They will not allocate them to where they don't belong. And it's hyperbolic, if you will. It's hypothetical to get from where we're at right now to a state in time where that may actually be an actuality. There's too much to go from now to then to be concerned about that then, when there are things to be concerned about right now in our society, with the state of affairs in our country, in our states, in our counties, in our cities, in our neighborhoods. There's things that we need to be concerned about right now. Yes, think about all those big, fanciful things that will most likely never happen. Go ahead. But if that takes your eye off the ball right now, the things that are happening right now, the things that you can influence right now, you're going to end up on the short end of the stick when the most likely comes pounding on your door. Team, at the end of the day, in my estimation, drones are not a risk for a variety of reasons. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts and your comments down below as we continue to master our craft and develop our tactical virtue. As always, until then, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked. Team, if you want to master your craft and develop your tactical virtue, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell so that you can stay up to date with future content. Consider becoming a channel member. It's going to give you exclusive access to content not available to anybody else. I appreciate you guys. Until then, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked.
We know you're out there! Come to my voice!